Last name, Drablos. D as in David, R-A-B as in boy, L-O-S as in Sam. First name, Kathleen, with a K, K-A-T-H-L-E-E-N. Date of birth, April 1st, 1987. February 19th, 2021. I went to see an ENT with what I thought was a stubborn canker sore and walked out with my tongue biopsied and a preliminary diagnosis of cancer. Dumbfounded. I'd never even smoked a single cigarette. I bought a pack in my mid-20s for an acting class and felt like I was breaking the law. March 4th, I received my official diagnosis of squamous cell carcinoma of the tongue after a second biopsy and a CAT scan. March 10th, my first PET scan. My parents were in town. I was terrified and claustrophobic. My mom was able to wait with me in the bowels of Mount Sinai Hospital. My cancer was then staged as a 1 or 2. March 21st, my mom and I moved into a short-term rental close to the hospital and all my oncologists, our home for the next 4.5 months. March 22nd, I taught my farewell dance class at Steps on Broadway. It was magical. March 24th, surgery. My tumor was cut out of my tongue and my neck was dissected to remove lymph nodes. The word dissection made me feel like a frog in a middle school lab class. To replace the third of my native tongue that was gone, a free flap was created of flesh and an artery from my left forearm. Then skin from my left leg was grafted onto my left forearm. The free flap was attached to my remaining native tongue, and yes, part of my arm is in my mouth. March 3rd, discharged. I walked home to the apartment, backpack on and mom in tow. My tongue was swollen to the size of Texas and sticking out of my mouth. I could barely talk. Coughing, gagging, disoriented, wounded. April 1st, 2021. I turned 34. I sat on the uncomfortable gray pleather futon couch in my apartment. Gifts, balloons, cards delivered every few minutes. So many flowers. The smell was heavenly. As a birthday present to myself, I was avoiding any bad news that might be contained in my surgical pathology results. But the results were in, so I let my parents talk to one of my surgeons. My mom left the apartment. I knew as soon as I saw her face an hour later that it wasn't great news. I insisted she tell me. After all, a birthday really is just another day. My tumor had been deeper than anticipated. Cancer had traveled to 2 of my lymph nodes. Surprise, stage 4. It was a beautiful and horrid day. What was I to do with it all? My therapist tells me to keep on being. My dentist tells me to heed Winston Churchill. If you're going through hell, keep going. Bob Dylan tells me to press on. My mom tells me to keep dancing.
I always thought I was a typical American, and so I fought my whole life, and I studied, and I played, and I worked, because I wanted to hear and I wanted to know the whole American story. I wanted to know my story, your story. Felt like I needed to understand as much of it as I could in order to understand myself. You know, who was I, and where I came from, and what that meant. What did it mean to my family? Where was I going? Where were we going together as a people? And what did it mean to be an American and to be a part of that story in this place and in this time? I wanted to be able to celebrate and honor its beauty, its power. And I wanted to be able to be a critical voice when I thought that that's what the times called for. But most of all, more than anything else, I wanted to be able to tell that story well to you. That was my young promise to myself. And this was my young promise to you. From when I was a very young man, I took my fun very seriously, you know. And this is what I pursued as my service. I still believe in it as such. This is what I've presented to you all these years as my long and noisy prayer, as my magic trick. I wanted to rock your very soul and have you bring it home and pass it on. And I wanted it to be sung and altered by you and your folks and your children, should they be interested. I wanted it to be something that you could call on when things were good and when things were not so good. You know, that it might strengthen, help make sense of your story and your life the way that you strengthened me and helped me make sense of my life. You've provided me with purpose, with meaning, and with a great, great amount of joy. I hope I've done that for you and that I've been a good traveling companion. Remember that the future is not yet written. So when things look dark, do as my mighty mom would insist. Lace up your dancing shoes and get to work. I get up in the evening and I ain't got nothing to say. I come home in the morning, I go to bed feeling the same way. I ain't nothing but tired. Man, I'm just tired and bored with myself. Hey there, baby, I could use just a little help. You can't start a fire. You can't start a fire without a spark. This gun's for hire. Even if we're just dancing in the dark. Messages keep getting clearer. Radio's on and I'm moving around the place. I check my look in the mirror. Wanna change my clothes, my hair, my face. Man, I ain't getting nowhere. Just living in a dump like this, there's something happening somewhere. Baby, I just know this. You can't start a fire. You can't start a fire without a spark. This gun's for hire. Even if we're just dancing in the dark. Sit around getting older. There's a joke here somewhere. When I figure it out, I'll let you know. All I know is that it's on me. Shake this world off my shoulders. Come on, baby, have a laugh on me. Stay on the streets of this town. Oh, and they'll be carving you up, that's right. So you gotta stay hungry. Well, I'm just about starving tonight. I'm dying for some action. sick of sitting around here trying to write this book. I need a love reaction. Come on now, baby, give me just one look. You can't start a fire sitting around crying over a broken heart. This gun's for hire, even if we're just dancing in the dark. You can't start a fire, worry about your little world falling apart. This gun's for hire, even if we're just dancing in the dark. Oh! Even if we're just dancing in the dark. Hey, baby, na 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 na.
And oh, by the way, I'm Katie. The only people who call me Kathleen are a few of my doctors and two sarcastic friends. Back to February 19th, leaving the doctor's office, snow falling. I called my mom and told her the doctor thought I had oral cancer. I don't remember how I got home to my Upper West Side apartment. I sat on my couch, numb. I gathered a few random belongings in a backpack, and I moved to New Jersey. Closer to Bruce, Hoboken to be exact, Sinatra's turf. My baby sister Maeve and her then fiance, now husband Jared, took me in. I was sure the tumor inside my mouth was growing every second. Looking in the mirror and convincing myself it was bigger than 5 minutes before. The waiting is the worst. I had been instructed to put on weight, a dancer's dream. Oreo McFlurries, Shake Shack, Chick-fil-A, daily croissants, and Nutella on everything, and Moscow mules when I wasn't on antibiotics. Maeve held my hand, sitting on her bed when I was officially diagnosed over telehealth on March 4th. I made up dance combinations in their bedroom as they both worked their full-time jobs on the other side of the door. They tucked me in every night with my childhood doll. Maeve had my mom mail from Texas. I had creatively named her Doll at 9 months, and she is famous for her good looks. Maeve and Jared were there for me all day long, and Tyra Banks took the night shift. There is no shortage of America's Next Top Model reruns. Comforted by the fact that my doctor, Diana, always responded to my midnight emails, my friends, family, employers, students, and cancer survivors flocked to me like the New York City pigeons flock to an abandoned half-eaten slice. I kept myself in my body, walking obsessively on the New Jersey side of the Hudson River, listening to 2 songs from Hamilton, Schuyler Sisters and Wait For It, over and over again for 10 or more miles a day. My legs didn't get tired. And if there was a reason I was still alive, you better believe I was willing to wait for it. So I walked, and I listened, and I waited, walked, listened, and waited, walked, listened.
Theodosia writes me a letter every day. I'm keeping keeping her bed warm while her husband is away. He's on the British side in Georgia. He's trying to keep the colonies in line. Well, he can keep all of Georgia. Theodosia, she's mine. Love doesn't discriminate between the sinners and the saints. It takes and it takes and it takes, and we keep loving anyway. We laugh and we cry and we break and we make our mistakes. And if there's a reason I'm by her side when so many have tried, then I'm willing to wait for it. I'm willing to wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. My grandfather was a fire and brimstone preacher. But there are things that the homilies and hymns won't teach ya. My mother was a genius. My father commanded respect. When they died, they left no instructions, just a legacy to protect. Death doesn't discriminate between the sinners and the saints. It takes and it takes and it takes, and we keep living anyway. We rise and we fall and we break and we make our mistakes. And if there's a reason I'm still alive when everyone who loves me has died, I'm willing to wait for it. Wait for it. I'm willing to wait for it. I am the one thing in life I can control. I am inimitable, I am original. I'm not falling behind or running late. I'm not standing still, I am lying wait. Hamilton faces an endless uphill climb. He has something to prove, he has nothing to lose. What is it like in his shoes? Hamilton doesn't hesitate. He exhibits no restraint. Takes and he takes and he takes, and he keeps winning anyway. Changes the game, plays and he raises the stakes. And if there's a reason he seems to thrive and so few survive, then goddammit, I'm willing to wait for it. I'm willing to wait for it. Life doesn't discriminate between the sinners and the saints. It takes and it takes and it takes, and we keep living anyway. We rise and we fall and we pray and we make our mistakes. And if there's a reason I'm still alive and so many have died, then I'm willing to wait for it. 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 Wait for it.
On March 24th, I emerged from anesthesia. Going under was a terrifying leap into the unknown. While I slept, my doctors worked to save my life. I was and still am comforted that my two lead surgeons were fierce, trailblazing women.
I am woman, hear me roar, in numbers too big to ignore, and I know too much to go back and pretend.
After surgery, a treatment plan was formulated. That stage 4 thing and my age necessitated that I get the full-on toxic protocol. The process would begin May 3rd and go through June 14th. Radiation, 30 treatments, Monday through Friday. Chemo, 6 treatments on Tuesdays. People kept telling me how hard treatment would be. I needed to recover and get strong during April. I drank smoothies and ate too much butternut squash soup. Eating was going to become more and more difficult, and it was already a profound challenge. As instructed, I exercised my new arm tongue 3 times a day to music, so the time length depended on the tempo. My speech therapist, Tamar, asked me to show her. I put on the K-Drabs Superwoman playlist my friends and family had made me. Kelly Clarkson's What Doesn't Kill You Makes You Stronger came on. I chose the slow beat. I wanted to show off how amazing I was at the long holds. The memory makes me belly laugh. I remember cherry blossoms in Central Park, power walking around the reservoir with my mom, Peloton bar classes, yoga on YouTube, visits from my dad, big sister Alana, and brother Thomas, enviously watching other people eat, doing EMDR therapy to prep for what lay ahead, texting with survivors, being too embarrassed to talk to my best friends on the phone because of how I sounded, using a straw for everything until I wounded myself with one, reading Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. Suffering and darkness were in front of me, but I was not alone. Surrounded by an army of love, leaping with me, sending me courage and light.
I could see your heart through your eyes on that night from the balcony. How could we ever make this leap? You and I, caught up in wind like we were parachutes. Oh, how we'd fly until we hit the ground. How could we ever make this leap? To show you the stars, and then when you're hard, how could we ever make believe? I can see a sunrise. Call me out from the dark, cause I'm broken inside. I can see a sunrise. Call me out from the dark, cause I'm broken inside. Up above the static, up above the racket, I hear your voice calling me out of the darkness. Up above the static, up above the racket, I hear your voice calling me out of the darkness. Caught up like parachutes, caught up like parachutes. Oh, how we fly. Caught up like parachutes, caught up like parachutes. Oh, how we fly. Ooh, ooh, ooh. From the dark and brought me into the light. You called me out from the dark and brought me into the light.
In 2021, I experienced the unimaginable. I want to erase the past year but also I don't. I wouldn't wish the suffering on anyone. But I did learn and grow and become more. I'm still figuring out how to be the transformed version of myself, a survivor. In the face of so much sorrow, there is still happiness.
Honey, when I'm above the trees, I see this for what it is. But now I'm right down in it. All the years I've given is just shit we're dividing up. Showed you all of my hiding spots. I was dancing when the music stopped. And in the disbelief I can't face reinvention, I haven't met the new me yet. There'll be happiness after you, but there was happiness because of you. Both of these things can be true. There is happiness past the blood and bruise, past the curses and cries, beyond the terror in the nightfall. Haunted by the look in my eyes that would have loved you for a lifetime. Leave it all behind, and there is happiness. I can't make it go away by making you a villain. I guess it's the price I paid for 7 years in heaven. And I pulled your body into mine every goddamn night. Now I get fake niceties. No one teaches you what to do. A good man hurts you, and you know you hurt him too. There'll be happiness after you, but there was happiness because of you too. Both of these things can be true. There is happiness in our history, across a great divide. There is a glorious sunrise, dappled with the flickers of light from the dress I wore at midnight. Leave it all behind. Oh, leave it all behind. Leave it all behind, and there is happiness.
Radiation of the mouth causes horrible side effects, the worst being painful inflammation of the mucous membranes, also known as mucositis. My first sores appeared on the 8th day of treatment, and by the 10th day, my tongue, the roof and floor of my mouth, the inside of my cheeks, my gums, and my throat were all covered. The sores worsened as treatment progressed and remained for weeks after. I took opioids for the pain and used a numbing medicine called Magic Mouthwash to drink my Boost protein shakes and take my meds. My cancer mentor and friend, Anthony, told me his mantra was, embrace the suck. Radiation treatments were usually in the morning. My mom and I would take the 6 train to the New York Proton Center in East Harlem. In the ladies' dressing area, there was a TV screen where I watched fish swim. I would request the album I'd like played that day. The Chicks, Haim, Mumford & Sons, Lumineers, and Taylor Swift were some of the regulars. I would be given a warm blanket, like a spa, but not. The treatment room felt like a spaceship. The table would rotate into position once I was secured. The scary part was next. My personal yellow radiation mask that had been molded to my face, neck, and shoulders, with a tongue depressor going into my mouth, would be put in place and nailed down to the table. There were holes so I could breathe and see. The mask had to be very tight to ensure that I remained still and the laser beams could be directed to exactly the right spots. My social worker at Mount Sinai, Batya, took a great deal of care helping me prepare for this process. To combat the anxiety and my claustrophobia, we planned tactics. My favorite was bringing people in the room with me. I'd imagine loved ones laying next to me, holding my hands. Chemotherapy on Tuesday afternoons, in contrast, was long, tedious, and kind of chill. The biggest problem was finding good veins. I felt like a pincushion. I don't know how I did it. I really don't. Somehow, it was all right.
Say it's alright. Say it's alright. It's alright. Have a good time. 'Cause it's alright. Oh, it's alright.
I'll listen to the beat and kind of pat your feet.
You got soul.
And everybody knows,
And it's alright.
oh, it's alright.
When you wake up early in the morning, feeling sad like so many of us do.
Just hum a little song, make life your goal. And
Surely something's gotta come to you. Say it's alright. Say it's alright. It's alright.
have a good time,
'Cause it's alright. Oh, it's alright.
now everybody clap your hands. Give yourself a chance.
You've got soul.
And everybody knows that it's alright. Oh, it's alright.
Oh, it's alright. Now everybody clap your hands. Give yourself a chance. 'Cause you've got soul. Say it again.
'Cause you've got soul. 'Cause
You've got soul. And everybody knows that it's alright.
God. I don't really know exactly what I believe. Cancer does make you question a lot of things. Yet I'm so grateful for the literally thousands of people that have prayed for me this past year. One of my employer's son's wife's grandmother, a woman I've never met in person named Wanda, and her entire church in North Carolina prayed unceasingly for me for months. She wrote me handwritten cards and told me about her friend winning a pumpkin growing competition. Her Bible study group handmade me a blanket. So much grace and kindness pouring down on me. I think maybe dancing is my way of praying, my church.
Traveling till my road comes to an end. I'm out here on my journey trying to make the most of it. I'm a puzzle, I must figure out where all my pieces fit. Like a poor wayfaring stranger that they speak about in song, I'm just a weary pilgrim trying to find what feels like home. Where that is, no one can tell me, am I doomed to ever roam? I'm just traveling, I'm just traveling on. Questions I have many, answers but a few. But we're here to learn, the spirit burns to know the greater truth. We've all been crucified and they nailed Jesus to the tree. And when I'm born again, you're gonna see a change in me. God made me for a reason and nothing is in vain. Redemption comes in many shapes with many kinds of pain. Oh, sweet Jesus, if you're listening, keep me ever close to you as I'm stumbling, tumbling, wandering as I'm traveling through. I'm just traveling, I'm just traveling through. Or sometimes the road is rugged and it's hard to travel on. But holding to each other, we don't have to walk alone. When everything is broken, we can mend it if we try. We can make a world of difference if we want to, we can fly. Goodbye, little children, good night, you handsome men. Farewell to all you ladies and to all who knew me when. Traveling, I'm just traveling through. Like the poor wayfaring stranger that they speak about in song, I'm just a weary pilgrim trying to find my own way home. Oh, sweet Jesus, if you're out there, keep me ever close to you as I'm traveling, as I'm traveling through. Traveling
stars are rising. Bright morning stars are rising. Day is a breaking in my soul. And where are our dear fathers? Oh, where are our dear fathers? They're down in the valley a-praying. Day is a-breaking in my soul. And where are our dear mothers? Oh, where are our dear mothers? They've gone up to heaven a-shouting. Day is a-breaking in my soul. Bright morning stars are rising. Bright morning stars are rising. Bright morning stars are rising. Day is a-breaking in my soul.
Fellow dancer and tongue cancer survivor, Justina, gave me the idea for Badass Pants, her version, Strong Lady Pants. Because radiation targeted our mouths and necks, we got to leave our pants on. She wore fun, fancy leggings to slay cancer with brightness and positivity. Inspired, I resolved to wear a different pair of colorful pants to each radiation treatment. Maeve got me a pink and purple tie-dye pair with bananas to start. My mom would take a photo of me every morning, hand signals, and identifying the treatment number to post online. The countdown was underway. I started receiving pants from people all over the country. Legit, hundreds of pairs of pants. I had a purpose, boldly fighting cancer and even having some fun. My mom got in on the game, and we often wore matching pairs. The doctors, nurses, and staff all took notice. On my final day of treatment, my friends and family organized an online share of everyone wearing their own badass pants and rallying behind me as I crossed the finish line and rang the bell. So many of my students from near and far were a part of that day. One group of 20 dancers from Texas even performed in badass pants at their recital. The love still overwhelms me. I fought cancer my way.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I traveled each and every highway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do, and saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway. More, much more than this, I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, had my fill, my share of losing, and now, as tears subside, I find it all so amusing to think I did all that, and may I say, not in a shy way. Oh no, not me. I did it my way. For what is a man? What has he got, if not himself? Then he has not to say the things he truly feels, and not the words of one who kneels. The record shows I took the blows and did it my way. Yes, it was my way.
When it's not always raining, there'll be days like this. When there's no one complaining, there'll be days like this. When everything falls into place like the flick of a switch. Well, my mama told me there'll be days like this. When you don't need to worry, there'll be days like this. When no one's in a hurry, there'll be days like this. When you don't get betrayed by that old Judas kiss. Well, my mama told me there'll be days like this. When you don't need an answer, there'll be days like this. When you don't meet a chancer, there'll be days like this. When all the parts of the puzzle start to look like they fit you. Oh, I must remember there'll be days like this. When everyone is up front and they're not playing tricks yet. When you don't have no freeloaders out to get their kicks in. When it's nobody's business the way that you wanna live. I just have to remember there'll be days like this. When no one steps on my dreams, there'll be days like this. When people understand what I mean, there'll be days like this. When you ring out the changes of how everything is. Oh, my mama told me there'll be days like this. Oh, my mama told me there'll be days like this. Oh, my mama told me there'll be days like this.
I really am 35. I feel so lucky and grateful to be here. We're going to close it out with the Chick song. Woo! If you know me, you know I'm a huge fan. And this is one of my favorites. And I teach kids dance mostly, so it has a bad word in it. So I haven't been able to do it yet for a piece. This is my show, so I can go on. So I'm joined by 3 other cancer warriors. Fuck cancer. I love you all.
Juliana, calm down. You know he's about to leave, but don't panic. Don't give him the satisfaction that you can't handle it. Breathe, it'll be okay. And Harper, hold on to the piece you know he's gonna try to take when he's gone. And you know exactly where he'll try to take it from. Breathe, it'll be okay. Just put on your best shoes and strut the fuck around like you've got nothing to lose. Show off, show off, show off your best moves, and do it with a smile so he doesn't know it's put on, put on, put on, put on, put on. Don't think about his lips, how every time he'd kiss you, you'd tremble. Try to only think about the bad things you remember. Breathe, it'll be okay. I guess this is the time to remind you sometimes what's going through your head is just a temporary situation, and light will soon be shed. Oh, just put on, put on, put on your best shoes and strut the fuck around like you've got nothing to lose. Show off, show off, show off your best moves, and do it with a smile so that no one knows it's put on, put on, put on, put on, put on, put on, yeah. Put on, put on, put on, put on, put on. And Katie, calm down. You know there'll come a time you think you can't handle it, but dig deep and know that you can.